All right, let's get this party started. So excited for today's training. One of the things that I was most captivated by when I started looking at this company last summer was the options to build in different ways. So as you know, we have our advocate route, and advocates can enroll affiliates, which is very much social media. That's generally the typical influencer. But we also can enroll the retail side. So we're going to talk a little bit about retail, what that looks like, some ideas and tips around that. But for me, when I heard about the retail, it gave me a light bulb moment of this really could help people build in a way that doesn't have to be so reliant on social media. And historically, a lot of our teams and ourselves have only built on social media, or primarily. And I am in a season of my life where I don't want to life cast everything in my life. I know, and I ebb and flow. I love social media. I'm so appreciative of everything it's given me. I used to find a lot more joy in it than I do have at other times. It kind of ebbs and flows. But one thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if any other leaders can agree, but over the years, the one I could help coach mindset and time management and leadership. The one thing I found really almost near impossible to coach through was social media burnout, when the only vehicle for building that we ever offered was social media. So knowing that we have a way to build a really successful passive income growing business here that doesn't have to be 100% reliant on social media was huge in my mind. I have had a lot of success on social media, but one thing that I always did previously for the last 10 years is I had a lot of stuff I did on offline too. And I think that's what really kept me sane. And when it went 100% online only several years ago, and we had no means for that social outlet, I think that was really where a lot of the imbalance started for a lot of us. For me, especially when I had really built up a lot of in-person community stuff. And that was really important for my mental health, my just fulfillment in this career path. So that said, what we're going to do today is go through some of the main buckets of different ways you can build offline. Now, this is by no means comprehensive. We are by no means saying like this is the only way to do it, or we are the masters in this field, because we're all relatively new in this space, right? And we're all relatively new with Hugh and Grace, and we're building our wings as we fly. The goal of this is to give you some ideas, some courage, some perspective, and even maybe some like, don't do this because we've already figured out this is not the way to do it. But maybe you got to figure that out for yourself too. This past weekend, I was invited to go and represent Hugh and Grace at an in-person event in New York City. It was Organic Spawn Magazine was hosting this big media event, and there were journalists and bloggers and travel writers and influencers from like over 100 different big media outlets, from like Vogue to Vanity Fair to Women's Health to Yoga Magazine. Like it was pretty cool. So we had people cycling through our table, and Sara Jensen was speaking there. So seeing her in action in networking sales mode was really cool, was really inspiring, because it was like, wow, she is so freaking bold. Like this one doctor scientist guy kept coming in, he's like, yeah, I'll come back by. She goes, no, smell it now. She's like, no, just smell it before you go. He was like, no, you have to smell this. And sure enough, like then that opened the door. But like even just networking and having people come through the table, and there was 4 of us there. All 4 of us talk about this business very differently. We have different kind of niche or brands, different personalities, and just getting to hear and see how we share differently was really cool. But also how it didn't really matter how we made that initial connection. Every single person that came by, their eyes lit up, they got really big, and they were like, say more words. What? Hormone health, simple swaps. What is this? This is beautiful. Like it was like they all connected on some different level of our company, but every single person, because this is busy, right? They're going, they're gathering information. You're almost in like robotic mode. They would kind of come in almost in that trance like, yeah, tell me the things, give me the things, I'm going to keep going because there was a lot to get through. And then they would stop and like check, even like tune back into their body and be like, oh wait, no, actually, I actually do care about this personally outside of my job. I want to talk about this. And every single person was so excited to learn more. And the simple question of, have you ever heard of our company, Hugh Grace? And it was like, no, what is it about? So Jace is going to talk at the end today a little bit about an elevator pitch, because that is, you know, someone was to come up to you and be like, so tell me about Hugh Grace. Sometimes we like trip over those words, but that can be the thing that really catches it, literally stops them in their tracks and makes them go, oh wait, actually, I want, this does matter to me. And so we're going to check into that too, but we're going to talk about, I'll just show you what we're going to talk about, and we're going to go through this fast. I also have a couple, videos hold on, I'm sharing the wrong thing. I have a couple, videos from a couple other leaders who have done some really great stuff with networking, and business connections, that they have made a little quick video. They were, it's the end of this school year. It's crazy time. So thank you for those of you who are on live, and thank you for those of you who are watching the recording. I know it's kind of just a crazy time, but we've got a couple gals who shared a quick little video about what they've been doing. They've been doing some really unique, fun things. And then Jamie Fifer is going to call in, as well as we've got Michele Thebodo and Jace Lundgren and Melissa Hadley. And also Amanda Lorenz is going to hop in briefly to talk about retail stuff. So we've got an action-packed thing. I've spent enough time kind of setting us up, because we're going to cruise through this. We do want this to be interactive. We do want you to ask questions, so use the chat. But we're going to talk about home parties. We're going to talk about pop-up events at local businesses. We're going to talk about networking events, because that's different. Retail advocate recruitment, so signing up retail partners, recruiting and advocate recruiting events, and then mastering your elevator pitch. Does that sound good? I may not go in this specific order, but what we'll do is we'll all just kind of brain dump for each topic. And if some of us have more to add, some might have a lot to offer, or some might have nothing to offer on each topic, but we'll just keep going through this. So, did I hit record? Yes, I hit record. Okay, good. All right. So why are events key? Well, it gets us out from behind a screen. I'm sorry, but no one is going to sit here envious, like maybe they were in 2013, of a Zoom screenshot of all your people on Zoom. Like no one's jealous of our Zoom times anymore, right? We're all wanting to get offline as much as possible and be in person connecting. It gives us a reason to reach out. It gives us a reason for something to invite to. I love one of a leader at our previous company used to give this example of the Taylor Swift concert. If Taylor Swift's coming to my town and I'm going to go, you better believe I'm going to call every single one of my girlfriends and be like, do you want to get tickets? Right? So it gives us a reason to invite to and connect to something that doesn't feel as like single focused of like getting a sale from someone, right? It gives collaboration opportunities, sharing networks, sharing lists. It builds and creates community, which is key. That is the reason I said yes to this business 11 years ago, was because I was looking for community, like in real life community. It builds connection and belief. And you can also do a lot of good for your community as well. Any questions before we jump into the first topic? I know that was a lot. Anything anyone wants to add? Okay, so we're going to do home parties. With each of these topics, we're going to talk a little bit about like what it is, what is a home party? Like how do we prepare? How do we invite to these? What materials do you need? What does the setup look like? Our goal is for you to walk away from this call and like to really have a really nice, solid visual of like what this would need to look like for you. What went well, what didn't go well, because guaranteed every time you learn, like if you saw pictures of our event in New York City, I'm sure it looked really glamorous. You guys, it was a shiz show at first. Like there was so much that did not go right. We pulled it together. But everything like this, if you do, you just build your wings as you fly. Okay. What would you do differently or change? And what else should we know? So feel free to ask questions. So let's start with that. I'm going to let Melissa kick off because I know she has to go pick up her kiddos. So go ahead, Melissa.
So this is my favorite thing. And so my team has been taking over and doing home parties, and I used to do Mary Kay back in like forever ago, and that's all it was. And so, and I didn't like doing them then, but now I do. And so Cindy, one of my teammates, just did a home party last night, signed up 4 advocates on her team. This is like the second or third party she's done, and it's the same thing every time. I get emails, boom, 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 people just signing up all at once. I'm like, oh, Cindy's having a party tonight. Michelle's done a few too, so she's going to talk about that. But for me, I create a theme. Like you can do a spa night, you can do a pajama night. I'm actually planning one at a winery or a brewery. So to prepare, I did put a whole document about what I do to plan in the Team Hub page. So there's a checklist for you, but create your theme and purchase your items are like 2 of the main things that I would recommend doing. Are you guys able to hear me? Okay, just want to make sure. So you purchase your items that you're gonna sample. For me, what I sampled was Hydrate Detox. I did not sample collagen because it's tasteless. So there's really no point in taste testing it. And I sampled the scrub that we have. And that was all I sampled. That was it. But you want to make sure that you purchase those items. Also, I did get some of the body oil samples to have. Yep. And I put some of in, Michele was just holding up the little amber bottles. So you want to buy those. Those are on Amazon. They're super cheap. Then you want to invite. So personal invites, Facebook event invites. And then you can do an evite if you wanted to. I just did the Facebook event invite and had, I think, like 15 people come to the party when I did mine. And then the materials that you need. So the products to display. So even if you're not sampling the products, you want to have them on display so people can see and touch and feel them. And then PDFs of your products. So I just laid mine out on the table because I didn't get my little plastic frames in time. But if you want to elevate it, just put them in frames. An event sign in sheet with their email addresses. Having an email list is really important. So that even if they don't purchase then, you'll have their email so that you can follow up with them later, especially if people are bringing friends. I think, Michele, you're going to talk about raffle cards. I now offer hostess gifts. So I have a whole hostess gift document that I give to my hostess like 2 weeks before the party so that they can learn about what they can earn depending on their party sales. But like I said, this has been a huge success for our team. And I've been posting about it in my information group. So that's been helpful. And I do have somebody who says, I don't have a house big enough, but I'll do it one off site for you. So that's where the winery is coming in handy. Michele, did you want to add anything to that?
Just very similar. Theme oriented is fun. I did like a foot soak using the bath salts and the scrub. I've done the mat, having them do a mask and just kind of making it a true spa day, having non-alcoholic beverages, a little bit of food. And I pretty much laid everything out for them to try everything. So I have a downstairs bathroom, had washcloths. And that's what I love about doing the home parties is because they literally can get in there and try all of it. So whether they were just smelling it, using the products, I think it really helps for people to be able to do that, to be able to get their hands on the products and actually use them. And then like Melissa, I don't know if you can see it, I also did a, just to make it easier, a little code so that they could easily order, whether they were ordering as an advocate or a customer with, I don't know if you can kind of see it, but just having little things on that to make it really easy, because obviously if you're hosting 15 or more people and you're trying to be the hostess with the mostest, you want to be able to give them something quick to just go to and place their orders and things like that. And I also do little fun games just to kind of keep it interactive. I usually show the little video kind of explaining how Ben and Sara, why they're doing this. I usually started out with that while they're soaking their feet or doing their mask, and just make it fun. Again, I wasn't somebody who, I was kind of feeling a little burnt out with social media. And this kind of has made it more fun, being more in person with people. I love getting in front of people. I'm much better at talking that way and communicating that way. So it's been really fun and I look forward to doing more. Where I want to improve is just more on the follow-up and getting people to, have parties of their own.
Okay, so walk us through, this is so fun. I wish I knew, all my people I know are in Oregon. I'm like, I wish I knew more people in Vermont, but that's not an excuse. But so like, say you're in, you got it all set up, everyone's there. What do you say? Like, what are you saying as you go through each of these things? Are you doing a little educational thing about each product? Like I know you said you're weaving in games. Like, what is it? What would be an example of a game? I know a lot of people feel like they're too shy or too timid to do stuff like this. So kind of, what does that sound like? We know what it looks like. What does it sound like throughout it?
The first one I did, I got everybody came in, I had all the products laid out, but it was more about getting them comfortable. So I bought little buckets at the dollar store so I could put hot water in them. And I got them all set out on my sofa and had their foot scrubs going on. And then I played the video on TV and just kind of allowed the video for Ben and Sara to explain, it was short and it was quick. And then from there, I talked about what I love about the products, kind of touched on them a little bit individually and answered questions and just invited them to really just dig in. And as people were kind of going in and out of the bathroom, I invited people to do little games, whether it was scratch tickets or I did a game where, again, if you've ever gone to like a home party or something before, I have little cheap gifts. And I would have everybody kind of stand in a circle. And as I told the story, it would say right or left, and they would move around and just do something fun to get something there. And I also, like Melissa said, with these little samples, everybody left with samples of the day and night serum and the body oils. So just for coming, they got a little treat as well. Does that help?
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Jace, why don't you talk a little bit about, you were talking for this one too, right? You've done some really fun stuff.
So I did a little bit different. So I was like, I don't want to do this at my house. So I leveraged our party planner. Like everybody's got that person in their circle that loves to host. So I actually reached out to that girl in our circle and I was like, hey, I need to do a test home party for Hugh and Grace. Do you want to host one? And she was like, yeah, any chance to get people together. And I'm like, okay, here's a host gift. Here's what you'll get. I always set up them as a customer. So every person that purchases from the party, I also use their referral card, like code, so that they get a $10 product credit on top of the host gift. I found that was like really effective. My flow actually was really awesome because she did little finger foods. And so we walked in and I gave them hydrate right from the get-go with a little card of all the key benefits of hydrate. So I really didn't want to focus on education and talking a lot. I really wanted it to just be relaxing and like a spa. Because they were all moms. They were all people that just like needed that break. And so I let them get a hydrate. I gave them a little informational card. They got food and they sat down. And as they were eating, I gave like a 5-minute spiel. Here's what we are. Here's what we do. Here's why it's important. And then I let the information cards that I printed do a lot of the work because I felt like that was received really well. It was very low pressure on me and them. So I could like joke around. I could like just talk about different things that they were bringing up as I was observing them looking at the products and the cards. So while they were eating, I just said, I have everything on display, but these are the products we're going to focus on is the skin. And so I had everything laid out. I did take pictures of all of the stuff that I bought for my display and how that was set up. If you guys are interested in seeing that, I think that's always helpful. I can post that in the team hub, but then like the flow itself was so important to me. Like that's the part I was stressing out about the most is the information, like not getting overwhelmed by ingredients and all of that stuff, I think holds people back. And so I let our informational sheets do all of that work. So I could just focus on having fun with them. And we did hand facials and then we did like a cleanser, like a mask. which I can go into more detail about like how I actually laid that out when we have more time. But I had an actual activity where they could all try the product together. We all kind of did it in a circle so they could feed off each other, which I was nervous about because if somebody's negative, then everyone's going to be negative. But it was, you guys know, like once people get these products in their hands, like that's it. That's the end. It'll sell themselves. And that was such a cool thing to witness. I was so afraid to do a home party, but after doing it, I had 100% people purchase, right? Every single one of them. And I think it really was just creating that experience, but I left that party with so much more belief and like I don't even have to sell this. Like it will sell itself. I just need to get it into people's hands. That's what my takeaway was. And that fear just dissolved. It was so fun.
I love that. I love that. Okay. So does anyone have anything to add about the, what did you like the most? I think some of you kind of talked about that a little bit, or anything that didn't go well that you would not do again.
I will say for me, I will probably take an iPad next time and place their orders right there. Instead of like, I mean, I had like a printed out price sheet and every single one of them filled it out. But nobody wanted to like write their credit card information down. Right. So I would have been like, okay, just Venmo me or whatever it is, but we want them to use their own credit cards. So next time I will take an iPad and walk through their orders that way. Instead of like following up from their paper sheets, even though that was really successful, I just called them the next morning and was like, I'll place it for you. I just need your credit card. And that was really helpful.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to mention that I did do was I had my laptop out and in the background it was playing one of the videos from Elevate, just in case, so that they could see the fun community that we do have. And then any advocate I had sign up right on the laptop, and any customer used a QR code. So for me, that was helpful to walk them through the advocate sign up process, and then customers could just go off and order through their phone. What I would do differently, I would actually do what Michele and Jace did, is have like everybody sit down and actually do the spa stuff together, versus at mine, it was, you can see in that picture right there, it was very, everybody's just mingling, which was great. And it went well, but I think having them all do the same thing together would create more community and help them feed off of each other.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
No, go
I was
ahead.
just going to say one thing that was really helpful for me was I created these little key benefit cards that are just paper. Like I just printed them on my printer and cut them out. So this one was for the hydrate, so they could read it while they were drinking it. This is the facial that we did. So it just has the products that we used at the party that they put on their faces and all the key benefits. And then I did that also with the hand facial. I just made these little templates. They're in the Team Hub already. And I printed them so that if they bought stuff, they could take home and duplicate exactly what they did at the party, that was really helpful for them.
I love it. Okay, one thing we'll make sure, so just so don't worry about chasing everything down. We'll make sure everything that we're talking about on this call is in the Google Drive under the home party folder. And then we'll make sure in the guides in the team page, we'll put all of the posts from the team page into a home party guide. Okay, so I know some people, I see your stress on your face. It's okay. We'll make sure it's easy, all these things. So would you say you know, we have to invest in our business. It doesn't have to be a crazy amount, but sounds like the investment would be to kind of get some stuff printed out, make sure you've got all the products that you can display. Some of this, whatever you're going to use. So you don't want to be using your own stash for things. And then like any kind of sort of goodie bag kind of thing, like the little samples, body oil sample, you can buy the little dropper bottles. And then always have some food things. A lot of these things, like for example, Jace's info cards, you could go to Staples and get it laminated or put it in a frame or whatever. Even if you wanted them to be able to hold it, you can laminate it. And then it's just a one-time investment, right? So it's like you can reuse a lot of these things if you make it quality enough. It wouldn't be something that you are having to recreate or repurchase every time. I like the idea of the QR code too, Dawn, for sure. Any questions about home parties? Jamie is in the middle of driving a car full of kids to a water park in Orlando. She pulled over to talk. So we're gonna close, unless there's anything else about home parties, I'm gonna pause there. Any questions? I want to, at the very end, we'll circle back. I want us to think through like, who are all we got some good ideas of like who to ask, like who to, how to network with this, but like setting up new ones too would be a good one to follow through. But we're going to talk, I'm going to switch this. I'm going to skip by this and we're going to skip by pop-up. We're going to talk through retail and retail recruitment with Jamie. And actually she doesn't have a slide, so I'm just going to share the screen so we can hear from her. Go ahead, Jamie. Are you still there? Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Okay, am I there?
Yep.
Okay. All the kids are saying hi. All right, so what did you want me to cover about retail? What's working for me or my approach?
Yeah, both. What's been working? What's your approach? You've got some really unique creative things you're doing, how you're continuing to like support them, and then anything that hasn't gone well.
Well, I will say first and foremost, like I was in outside sales for 12 years with wine, and getting back into this again, it's reminding me that like the retail places, they don't happen, like I think we get so used to that quick sale when we're talking to somebody on Facebook or Instagram. It's a quick sale. Like every one of the retail places that I've been talking to, it's slower. It's a lot of follow-up. It's just different, and you're not going to get that sale, Molly, immediately. So I've approached many different businesses, and the way I look at it is when I see a retail business, what hole could I fill in their business? So like when I see an IV clinic, that's what I'm targeting right now. What hole could I fill for them, which could help them make more money? So a lot of these IV clinics, and like I just reached out to a mobile IV lady. If they had our product, they have a lot of people who get like a, probably every 2 weeks IV, once a month. They can now have a product they could also sell that these people could use in the meantime. So that's a hole I'm filling. I met with a spa this past week, and I know she has a ton of, sorry, the car is shaking my phone. I'm trying to make it still for you guys. She has a ton of skincare already. So we're trying to say, what hole could I fill? And she really believes, because she's been using the Hydrate Detox in our gut health line. And most spas, that I've seen, they don't have a gut health line. They have actual skincare. And she now sees how her rosacea has cleared up because of using the Hydrate Detox. And she understands, like, oh, wow, we need to teach our clients not only to address the outside of the skin, but the inside, our gut health, where it's also stemming from. So I've approached them. I have met with a plastic surgeon who sells Ozempic, and I went in and I showed her the benefits. And this I do want to say too, when I tell them the product I was thinking that would fill a hole in their business, that's what I go in with, but I always bring everything. I have like this cute little bag, and I bring everything, and I make a packet for them to leave info with them. I have those little glass vials Jamie was talking about, and I leave samples for them so they can use it. So I do kind of put an investment in my business. And it was really interesting because that spa that I met with, she's also a friend. So she was very honest with me of like why she won't use our face serums, because the markup's not enough. And she showed me like what her markup is on another one. But thank goodness I had brought all the products, because something I didn't think she would be so excited about was the body oil. And she's like, we do not have a full body oil like this. It's also eye makeup remover that, you can also use for hair oil. She thought that was so cool. So I'm going to go in Tuesday and do a staff training, because we even had the idea, like her massage therapist could sell single packets of the Hydrate Detox as people come out of their massage to, to flush out all those toxins that have been released during the massage. So I'm trying to think. I've met with an esthetician. I have met with a plastic surgeon. I have a woman who does telemed, and she does mobile semaglutides, the weight loss shots. She sells those. So we're right now putting together a newsletter for her, because every one of my retail places has absolutely loved the fact that they can have a link as well to send out in their newsletters, and they never have to carry any inventory. And so like even the spa I met with this past week, she's like, you know what, I immediately want to have a big stand with Hydrate Detox, but I want to put something out there on our social media and everything about the collagen, about that kind of stuff. So really, you always just have to look at somebody's business. And when you go in there, I have an open mind, and I always think like I'm learning from them too. because I haven't sold, skincare to spas. I'm used to selling to restaurants, that was my background. So I always just try to learn from them as well, stuff that I can take forward. And you never know, each place might latch on to something different. Like this spa that I met with this past week, again, how she was explaining the face serum. She's like, okay, so this is what we would charge for a chapstick. So that's why I can't use this. So I was learning from her as I went of like which products price wise and markup wise, could fit in other spas too. And let me know if you guys have any more questions on that.
No, I love this. And so I think what are some, so you've got the people, you're going in, you're meeting them, you're leaving them with samples, you're thinking about like because it's always the what's in it for them. And then what does your follow-up look like? Because a lot of times, they're probably you said it takes a while. So it's not like yes, sign me up right now. Like, what does your follow-up process look like?
So like for the plastic surgeon, she was really struggling because the follow-up, she's like, oh my God, yes, we have to include this with every single package. But people are shopping around semaglutides right now. So she's like, how can we make this cost beneficial? So I really followed up with her, and she kept, she was trying to get past like, okay, how are we going to do this? And I said, why don't I come in and sit down with you and we create like your next newsletter and talk about all this? So that's what I did with her, which we're going to sit down. Again, the other mobile Ozempic lady, she's been using it. Most of them are like, okay, I want to use it first. So they'll sign up and they're using it to make sure that they absolutely love it, which Jennifer does now. So now we need to sit down. And again, I'm helping her write her first email newsletter where I'm going to kind of write out a script for her too. So when she talks to each of her clients, I mean, she has like 1,500 clients, but she's stumbling over how to word this, so we're going to work on that. The spa that I've just met with, I mean, that took me 2 months to nail down that appointment. So every single week I'd be like, okay, what's good in your schedule? When can I come in? And immediately the other day, I said to her, as she's like, okay, I really think so, this will work. I'd love to get you in front of my staff. And I was like, okay, what time next week? What works for you? When will they all be here? And she's like, oh, we have our, company meeting on Tuesday. And I was like, okay, just give me 15 minutes. So you just have to be like, I will be there. I will help you. I will help you walk through this. I'm not just going to shove this at you. And I also, when I go in, I have my computer and I showed her some Canva templates and Canva, like, cards that I could help her have printed out, that we rack cards basically. And maybe like mini cards if someone wanted to do a 7-day sampler. So I just make sure that like whatever objection they have in their head, they know that I'm going to be there to help them walk through that step. And I'm not just like shipping in product and not helping them move it, because once we get it in there, you also have to be proactive of like checking in with them once a week. Hey, do we need to get more product on your shelf? Is it not moving? Do I need to come in and talk to your massage therapist or your estheticians again, so they understand why this is so great? And I also, with her staff, on Tuesday when I meet with them, I'm going to give them an incentive for the first month of sales that like maybe the highest seller of Hydrate Detox, I'll give a free face serum or maybe a body butter or something like that. Or maybe even a bag of Hydrate Detox just to get them excited to talk about it.
I love all these ideas. I love it. This was so great. Okay, go have fun at your water park.
All right,
Amanda,
say hi.
have fun, you guys.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. So if you guys have retail questions, Amanda's hopped on too, and she will, I think I saw Amanda and Frank, show up. Let me
It's
see.
here. I removed Frank. He's not going to participate today.
Okay. I was like, oh, Frank's here. So Amanda, real fast, nothing super long, but like, what are some of the best best tips that we've got a lot of people that are scared or have like, they were really excited and then they kind of like hit a wall and got the nose. And so they kind of shrunk back. Like, what are the best practices that you see for, or what you want people to know about the retail advocate opportunity?
I think everything that Jamie just told us, I just learned all of those things. So I'm changing all of my tips. Can you guys hear me okay with this? Okay. I've got the granddaughter is napping in the background, so I'm trying to be really quiet and and work today. So the premise of the retail program, there are a couple of things, and I hopped on kind of at the right when she was already starting. But some of the tips are you have to go in, right? So I think being bold and know, and kind of thinking about in your business and what you do today is you guys know so much about this. You know the benefits of collagen and hydrate, and it's you are immersed in it. It is your everyday. When you go in and talk to a potential retailer, whether it's a doctor, a boutique, or whatever, they don't know that. They know your 10-minute, long elevator pitch. So there's a gap there. And so if they don't get it right away, like, oh my gosh, I have to have this product, that is not the end of the world. So I really love what Jamie said on that follow-up, because it might take a couple of touch points, whether it's an initial conversation, it's a piece of literature that you leave with them, it's something that you email to them, it's a sample that they have to try. So remember that there's always that gap. And I remember, and I've shared this with some of you guys before, but like I used to own a hair salon, and people would pitch me all the time. And they're like, put my candles in your salon, it would be the best thing for your clients. And I'm like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I'm already selling shampoo and I'm good with it. And so it was really about, I remember people coming in so often, but it's like, it's not about, you need to make it about them, right? It's not about you. I have this product. I'm doing this. I can sell it in your store. It's what is the value add for you and your customer? And with our products in particular, these are not just a candle that you're going to throw on the shelf. It's not a commodity item, right? It's not and something that people are going to just stop by the register and take a look at. These are customers who are really in this space, and they know, and they're looking for something like this product. So I think it's making sure that they have, they get behind the reason that these are important. I did hear, and I'll pause there, Jamie, you interrupt me, or I'll just keep talking. Okay. I also heard a little bit, the price point are a couple of things. So the price point on the products, it's got to be something that kind of matches, or, oh, I like that. I like condensed information. But something, make sure that the price point makes sense, because if you go into, and I've seen a couple of examples, like a small boutique where they're selling, I don't know, chapstick and, things like that, you might not have the right customer that's coming in. And so even if you set a couple of products up, the retailer may not sell something and immediately feel like, this isn't working. So it is that you are acting as their liaison, right? So when we thought about this retailer program, and again, if any of you guys have worked in retail, you know that every kind of product you can put on your shelf has like a territory rep. So they're going to come in, like I used to have the Paul Mitchell rep that would come in all the time, and do the things. I see you smiling, Jace. So, your rep would come in and they help manage the account. Or, in another analogy, you guys know I used to work at the bank for a long time in auto finance. And, you'd have reps that go out and bring donuts to the dealerships and they do the things. You have to act as their rep, because they're likely not going to dig in and do the work. They're going to look to you as the expert. So continuing to share the information that you have will keep them excited and motivated about the product.
Perfect. Okay, so just since we're putting this into one meaty recording, the nuts and bolts of the retail advocate. So will you just talk dollars to us in terms of like what that markup or markdown looks like?
Yep. So the way the program works is, so we have the Hugh Grace retailer program. Anybody can enroll as a retailer as long as they have to have a tax ID, so they're a legitimate business, and a resale tax certificate. What that is, that allows them, which is a system upgrade it might be there, I have to check on it, but it will allow your retailer to buy the products without paying the sales tax up front. So it's an enhancement to the program, but the requirement to have those two things is in place on the retail enrollment. So they've got to be a legitimate business, meaning they've got their tax ID and a resale tax certificate. So when they enroll, basically they will get 30% off of our retail pricing. And the way to look at this is, like, you guys as an advocate get 25% off. They're going to get 30% off. And the reason for that is you know, when we think about our comp plan and how much we can pay to advocates and bonuses and boosts and all of that, you know, we have a budget. There's only so much we can pay. You know, we got to pay for other things, computers and websites and things like that. So we have a budget. The reason we're able to do a little bit more on the retailer is because a retailer cannot build a team. So a retailer enrolls, they cannot put anybody else under them because they're not interested in that, right? If they're interested in building a team, they're an advocate. So a retailer doesn't build a team. A retailer is not in Boost. A retailer is not going to Maui. A retailer is truly like, we are the wholesaler to this person. So we can give them, it's 30% off. Now, if you look at some of our material, you will see that there's a term called markup, and it says 43% markup. And you're like, what is it? 30% or 43%? So it's actually the exact same number. But sometimes when you're talking to a retailer, and say if they're carrying a lot of products in their salon, it's kind of their language. So what is the markup on this product? So for example, if something cost them $50 to buy, and then they were going to sell it for $100 retail, that would be 100% markup, right? It's $50. We're going to make $50. It's 100% markup. So we opted to put that language in some of our material because some of your retailers are going to ask. So the markup and the discount are effectively the same thing. It just depends on how you want to position it. But for our purposes, it's 30% off of retail price. So your retailer will be able to purchase product at 30% off, and then they can do a couple of things. They can either buy, like a bulk of product. Maybe they buy 30 pouches of hydrate. They buy 30 pouches of hydrate. They get it at 30% off. So they've given us the money. They've paid for it, right? That's their outlay. Now they've got these 30 pouches in their retail establishment. When they sell it at retail price at $85, now that's where they're starting to make their money, right? So I don't know if any of you in your previous businesses ever did like cash and carry, right? So same thing, you invest at your cost, and then when they buy, their customer buys it at full price, that's when they start to make their profit. In addition, on the retail program, like Jamie was mentioning, they get a URL just like you. So it could be hughandgrace.com/Amanda Salon, and their customers can reorder, and they would get paid out 30%. It would go through Pay Quicker. It's the same thing, so you have to let them know, but they can leverage it either way.
Okay, I love it. And I know one of my recent questions too was retail can have their own customer list. They have their own customer. If people buy online, they'll have their own customer list. So
absolutely. And they can also have HD insiders. So, I mean, again, they're still going to get paid just like anything else, but they can enroll people on subscriptions so they continue to get that recurring income. They have their own customers, their own everything. So yeah, the customer will stay with the retailer. It just wouldn't be advocates or more retailers under the retailer.
I will say too, with a retailer, if you're like, you don't have to stock product and you can just buy directly online and they still get 30%, that's really appealing.
Yeah, and we have a couple of boutiques that have like a demo set of product, and they don't buy a full stock. So they might have a couple of each item or a top seller. So like if you're there, you could grab it, because oftentimes not often, okay, sometimes when somebody's in a retail, it's like, I want to have this right now. I just tried it. I want to have it and take it home. So they have a couple of them, but they don't buy 30 bags of hydrate. They're buying a couple, and they'll pitch that online option. Or for people who come in like to a hair salon or estheticians, they might give them one for the first time, like, here's your product. And then, hey, if you want to reorder, you can just use the link. And that way they already know the product. When they're ready to run out, their reorders can go online, and the retailer doesn't have to invest in as much in actual stock, because the customer can buy direct versus only being able to get it off of their shelf.
Okay, awesome. We'll move along to the next topic, but thanks, Amanda, and Jamie, if you're watching the recording, thank you. That was so helpful. It like relit my fire to go. Again, we're going to talk a little bit more about retail as we go back. We're going to talk about pop-up events at retail, but thank you.
All right. Well, I'm good to hop off.
Yeah, you're good to hop off.
Okay. Well, if you guys need anything else, you know where to find me. It was good to see you. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so one of the things we wanted to talk about today, and I realized like we're getting close to time. This will probably go a little over just so we can have it all here. But if you need to hop off and watch the rest of the recording, that's fine. But one of the cool things that one of the first things what we started kind of picking the brains of some of the leaders that have built this company prior to us was what they were doing with like what they were calling pop-up events. Pop-up events at local businesses. Think yoga studios, gyms, IV bars, boutiques, hair salons, nail salons, and med spas, the chiropractor clinics. Put in the chat what else comes to mind. But they're doing these pop-up events, and we call them retail events. And this can be a way to support your retail advocates and help them move product, help them educate, their staff, their, get their clientele interested. It also could be a way to start making inroads to retail partnerships, or just to do stuff in your community. What I have stuff to share that Tammy offered, but Melissa, Michele, Jace, have you guys done any pop-up stuff that you wanted to also chime in?
I haven't done any physical pop-ups, but I've done just like the virtual ones, so no.
So retail events. So Tammy has done a lot of these. These are some of her notes. But so basically you want to look at, actually, is this the right slide? Hold on. No, this is the right slide. You want to connect with local businesses. So I gave a list, but like basically you can start thinking of the places most naturally that you go to shop. Okay, so the places that you naturally go. So where are the places, like I go to the chiropractor on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I have a med spa I go to every few months, right? Acupuncture clinic, yoga studio, any local boutiques. So you want to go to the places you shop frequently, or just go to the ones that you're like, I would really love to partner here, and just go ask to talk to the manager. Do you get to in front of them face to face? This is a belly to belly opportunity. And then offer to do a collaboration, or do a customer appreciation night, or some, whatever you want to kind of, how you ever want to theme it, like you would a home party. Or maybe they have ideas. You can be looking, I know my little town has a little mailer every week with a little newspaper, and it shows all these community events. You can get ideas of stuff that's going on. You want to decide on a date. You want to make sure you follow up and confirm the date, and then like even communicate expectations, and then arrive early to set up. So make sure you are professional with those communications. With, you don't want to move the date around a lot, like, be flexible if they do, but do treat, this is a professional thing. And show up early, dress appropriately. You want to make sure you are dressed professionally too, not like in a suit, but whatever will be appropriate for the venue, right? And like cut off shorts and flip-flops probably wouldn't be the best place for like a med spa, right? So dress appropriately. You are representing Hugh Grace and the brand, and then set up a display. So the display we had at our event last week was just a table with a white tablecloth. There were a couple flower arrangements, and then we had a couple vases with fruit, the citrus fruit that are in some of our products. That was not a necessary thing. We had a water, but it looked nice. And then we kind of stacked up lip masks in a little pyramid. You can just make it, but you want to have a display. So display all the products, and then giving them opportunity to smell, taste, touch, feel. And so that would be stuff like the body polish, the serums. We would make sure everyone that came by, we put a little night serum on the back of their hand, the body butter they got to kind of smooth on the other hand and see how that felt. Jen dropped a really fun tip in the chat, if you bring a little slow cooker with a bunch of warm washcloths, so it keeps them warm and you can just wipe it off. If you've ever been to one of those yoga studios, after they have a nice little, a towel afterwards. Extra materials to bring, little Dixie cups for the hydrate detox. They can taste it. Printed order forms. She always bring order forms. People can just write their order, and then she'll call the next day or later that night and manually do it. I love the idea of an iPad. I do think little spoons, think of those little Baskin and Robin wood spoons, would be a great little spreader rather than having people stick their fingers in your products. And anything that just kind of makes the display fit the look of the place. Right? If it's a small little place, you wouldn't want to do a big balloon display, but something that fits the look of wherever you're partnering. And that gives them the chance to smell, taste, feel. And then I think the most important thing we've heard from everyone is to gather contact information. A lot of times these things, especially at like a pop-up like this, it might not convert to like sales right there, like a home party would, but these will convert if you have a way to follow up. So do gather contact information. I would get their social media. I think the idea of like doing a giveaway, like a really nice giveaway, is a really great reason for people to give you their email and their social media contact, right? Or if they have a business card, like put a little fishbowl and a little drawing of something to do there, or just gather information. I loved Michele's QR code where they can just scan and follow you right there, or scan and go right to your website. But do gather contacts. Here's some pictures of what Tammy's looks like. She always has food or charcuterie, some cheese, some crackers, some, something, and has some like nice little bamboo, like trays, beads, frames, pictures of Ben and Sara. I think this looks like a really nice display. I'm gonna look at the chat. I know that was a lot, but like, I like to, boutiques, YMCA, I love that. Cycle Studios, farmer. Yeah, we're in the farmer market season right now. That's so smart. It doesn't have to cost money, you guys, but also if there are, something like a farmer's market probably does cost money, right? So how can you really turn that into something that can pay for itself? That might be an opportunity where you do want to have product on hand to sell right there, right? Like or something like that. If you don't feel confident in gathering names from, like, for example, as a farmer's market. Give a stick of hydrate detox if they follow you on social media. Perfectly. Yes, I love these ideas. And sorry, Jen, I'm just saying you've done pop-ups. Sounds like these are really great. These are really great ideas. Any questions about pop-ups? And okay, I want you to put in the chat 3 places that you go or have gone or will go in the last month or next month in your community that you will commit to reaching out to or showing up and just kind of like offering something fun. Give me the actual name of the place. Oh, sample bags. I love that. Yep. A lot of people don't have, they do a lot of, while you're typing these in your chat, they do a ton of craft and artisan fairs in Vermont. Everything is farm to table in Vermont, locally made, is a really big thing. So like having little goodie bags at these like holiday craft there's a craft market this Saturday at like a little town near me. And I do see network marketing type companies there. All right, I'm waiting for your chats, you guys. Where are the areas what are the places you're going? Wellspring Chiropractic Clinic. I love it. Great, Dawn. Love it, Shelly. Perfect. Okay, so what I want to play now is a video from Sara. So one of the other ways with this is and because you might get a not right now, you might get a no. But what that can always lead to, and what Sara talks a lot about, is a referral. Is like, okay, well, is there someone else you can connect me with right now? Okay, this might not be for you. And so where did that video go? She just sent us. Hold on. Where did it go? Okay. So we're going to hear how Sara, I asked her this morning, I said, would you be willing to make us a little video with exactly how you asked? Because you guys, I watched it in person. How do you ask for a connection, an introduction, or referral? Would you guys like to see what she has to say? Because she's the master at this.
So how to ask for a referral. I was thinking about it, and it really starts with you being confident in what you're doing and the mission and offering better products and offering products that can really help people long term. So when I talk about Hugh Grace, I talk about us being a lifestyle wellness brand that promotes hormone health. And then people say, oh, hormone health, depending if it's a man or the age of the person. And I'll say, yes, men have hormones too. There's testosterone and cortisol and even like the benefits of hormone health. It's better sleep, it's reduced stress, it's clear skin, mental clarity, even weight management. And so if someone says no to me, I'll say, you know what, totally understand. Who do you know? What we're doing is really impactful. Who do you know who would like products? But also even for the advocate opportunity. There's, I went to an event last night. I took notes, and so they said if you want to lift someone, they have to have meaningful work, and feel like they're doing something bigger. And what we're doing at Hugh and Grace is bigger, is better, is bigger, better. But we're doing something that's really meaningful. And these are products people are already using. Everyone hopefully is using home care, cleaning every once in a while. Our wellness products outperform everything on the market. And so to be able just to have the confidence in what you're doing and to know, I think that is what leads. And people say, oh my gosh, yes, I want you to, I want to do it. Or if it's not now, it's later. And I think so much in life is timing. And so if someone said no to you 6 months ago, they may want to do it now because now they're seeing, so much talk about hormone health. There's so much talk about wellness, and the hormone health market is going to be projected to be over $80 billion market in the next several years. And so to be able to be there and as an advocate, advocating for that cause, and being able to do it in an authentic way is incredible. But just ask. If you don't ask, you will never find out. You'll never know. So if you don't ask, it's obviously not going to happen. But if you do ask, some really great things could happen.
Okay, I love it. So great tips from our CEO, and we're going to keep cruising. I know that we're over on time, but I think this is really important, and hopefully is this helpful so far? Okay, so we're going to talk really fast. I'm going to keep this one short. I built my team for the last 10 years, mostly off of social media. That was, or I would connect with them once I knew them in real life. I'd connect and build the relationship more on social media, and then we would build the community offline. So my message here is that give people something they want to join. You want to give people the FOMO. Like I said, no one's envying our group shot, our screen, our group picture from Zoom these days. Like, we have enough of that. So what are you creating in terms of building community or inviting people to come meet your team in real life? I think it's a really great way to build local community, is to continue to offer things that people can say yes to. So things that are just for fun. Is there like a traveling pop-up photo shoot thing coming through your town or near? Is it something you could drive to? Remember when the fitness marshal came to Portland, Oregon? Do you guys know the fitness marshal on YouTube? He does those like dance, like we just all loved the fitness marshal. We like drove from all over Oregon and had like a team day and did the fitness marshal pop-up event and went to lunch. It was so fun. Something that's just for fun. Social causes. I'm big on that. I've done lots and lots of fundraisers. I used to host an adult prom every year that had a different theme. And so all the funds would raise to go to local charities. So we would have social causes that we would do. Community involvement. My team was always like the Queen Volunteer Squad for TEDx Bend, or we would do like a monthly Habitat for Humanity build, right? These are things that they mattered to me. Therefore, they also mattered to people I attracted, which is also how I attracted a lot of these people, because they saw our team doing these things, right? We created traditions. Every summer we went on a rafting trip. But different, we would do like a brunch bunch once a month. Traditions that we could invite to, and people could kind of like come and get a taste of what our team was all about. We would do work sessions, just great for coffee shops, or go to lunch and do work sessions, or rotate around each other's houses, or just share in the things that matter to us. We work out and go to yoga together. People go to church together, do Bible studies, or do book clubs, the things that matter, right? The things that you can share your values. And then I always joke, this is a joke, but if it's not posted on social media, it didn't actually happen. So that's not true. But in terms of using this to recruit, you got to like internalize that mantra, because that is how you're going to capture. It was a picture of a dinner at my favorite restaurant in Portland, doing a networking event, a girls networking dream casting dinner was what stopped my scroll and said, I want that. I want people who dream and want to like have dinner together. So like you have to go and then cast it outwardly and hook them in. So think about the things, and it just starts with one. I started with one person on my team in each of the places that I've moved. And then we build from there, because I've moved so much in the last, 11 years, from Oregon to California to Florida, back to Oregon, now Vermont. And it's about building a community, and then you teach your team to build community, because also that just keeps it a lot more balanced and healthy. Any questions about that? Okay. The other thing that we wanted to talk about is networking. I think this is another huge one, and we just have 2 quick videos from who are both actually at networking events right now. Courtney and Lyndsi have done a really great job really doing some really fun networking. And that is a really great way where you're, hold on, Courtney's video is sideways. Hold on. Well, I'm going to share it. I don't know how to make her video not sideways. Let me start with Lyndsi's. Oh, Lyndsi's is sideways too. Hold on. Okay, that's not working. Hold on 2 seconds. Any questions while I'm figuring out how to rotate these videos? All right, we're just gonna listen. Sorry, it's sideways. I don't know why.
Hey everyone, it's Lyndsi coming to you straight out of an event in Scottsdale. I'm sorry I'm not able to be there with you live, but I wanted to give you a video with some great valuable tips for how to build off social media. This is something that I've never done in my life, because you all know I'm known for Facebook groups. However, last fall, about October, November time, I met a friend here locally who dragged me to a networking event in person, and I just went. I wanted to step out of my comfort zone. I wanted to do something different, and I just got up and I went. And so what I've done is I have worked on, like, what is it that I do? How do I share that with people? How do I connect with them on the back end? And so I've been so proud to talk about the products we have, the fact that they're hormone safe, they're for the family, because what I find is in my space, I'm around a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in Scottsdale. Like, they're everywhere. In fact, I'm around them right now. I'm around probably 20 of them this week, and they care about this stuff. So it's such a simple conversation to talk about how I've gotten involved in this company. And so that's number one, is just sharing what you've gotten involved with. And if it's something they're interested, I connect with them on social media, and then I follow up. So simple. I was invited to donate to a swag bag at an entrepreneurial podcast event. And so everybody got to try samples of Hydrate Detox, collagen, something else, body oil. And so my job was to then, I was given the list of everybody who attended, and then it's my job to follow up, right? So the biggest key that I want you to hear is, like, a house party, they may sign up right then and there that night. And I can't speak to house party just yet because I have not done one. I've only done pop-ups, and I've contributed to swag bags, and then I've spoken in big rooms and I've spoken, like, in a networking space. So the biggest thing I want you to take away, this is so simple. The biggest thing I want you to take away in general is business is simple. It's just boring, like straight boring, because we're doing the same thing on repeat, and we're like basically sharing the same message on repeat. And we're like, is anyone listening? Is anyone out there? but it's this follow-up piece that's so important, and continuing to build the connection, the relationship, whether you're offline or online. So that's the bottom line. The other thing I did was I pitched myself for pop-ups at spas. Slowly but surely, I'll do it for boutiques. And I went there and I just did a pop-up. I did the hand treatments that Lisa talks about in the Hugh Grace page. And I found a lot of people interested in collagen. So again, my job is to follow up. So tomorrow, I actually go back to the spa that I did a pop-up at a couple weeks ago, and I will follow up with the doctors there. So yeah, the simple steps are wherever you're going, networking events, special events, parties. I can't speak to a home party yet because I haven't done one, but I know the other ladies are going to do that. Podcast events, like really exclusive, cool events. You've got to people have to know what you do, number one, and your passion behind it, your story behind it. And then the biggest thing of all is you follow up with these people. So very similar to a social media build, but we're just doing it in person. And the best part about Hugh and Grace with being in person is if you do have samples on hand, that's one, what do we call it? It's the reduce risk of the buyer or something, because they're like, okay, I've already tried it. Now I just want to order my bottle. Does that make sense? Hopefully that helps.
Are you able to follow that even though it's sideways? Okay, so Courtney's done a little bit different. She's got a bunch of little kids. She's in suburbia, and her networking has looked a lot differently, but it really fun and duplicatable as well.
Hey team, coming to you from my car in the middle of all of the end of school year fun. But I wanted to provide you with a little video about networking and building relationships, and from the context and space of somebody that I feel like was really out of that for a couple of years with the pandemic, with a previous business, which I feel like just took us to building a lot of relationships online. And that is still something that I do a lot of, but it's been really fun to have face-to-face conversations and just build connections in the community as well. And so I want to encourage you to get out from behind your screen and have conversations with people. And so last night, for example, I was invited to a event. My realtor was offering a girls' night, and it was very informal. It was not like a sales thing for her in any way, shape, or form. It was just bringing a bunch of women together. And I went. I don't know anybody there, so I have to get out of my own way a little bit there because I am very extroverted, but I usually feel more comfortable when I have like one person to go with. But I went, and there was 2 boutiques you could shop in. I actually bought this shirt. We got a discount because Sierra was hosting it. And while I was doing that, I was talking to one of the boutique owners, and she had like a little corner over there where she had some products like skincare, lip and cheek kind of stuff. Not a lot. It was just a little bit. It's very much of a clothing boutique, more so than it is other things. But I'd asked her, I said, are you looking to possibly like expand your products that you offer? It was a boutique owner, so she does like the buying for the store. And the items that were in there, like the price points, they were like Nordstrom level prices, I would say. So like the clothing in there was between like $60 to like $200. So like knowing that, if I'm thinking about the market, like somebody that's shopping in there would be somebody that would likely invest in our products because they are within those like price points. Hold on, Luz. I've got a toddler passenger back here. But so anyway, so I was talking to the boutique owner, and I said, would you like ever consider having some other like expanding your product line to offer like more skin and body items? And she was like, well, yeah, if it like was something that I felt like my market really, like my customers would really enjoy, or something that like they would like purchase, then yeah, it's definitely something I would look into. So I had just said to her that I would like to, if we could like sit down another time and just kind of chat. And I very briefly told her about Hugh and Grace, didn't go into much detail about it, didn't really talk about the retail option. I was just building that connection and planting the seed. So I'm going to reach out to her today to see if to share more information. And then I'd love to set up an appointment with her where I can bring her some products that she could touch and she can feel them, and talk about, how we could collaborate together. Because then I envisioned and I thought, well, how great would that be for her to have these products in this boutique in a very high traffic area with women like me that like to shop at these kinds of places. And you could offer wellness events in there. So I just encourage you guys to kind of think outside of the box in terms of these connections and how you're building, because social media is always going to be a huge tool for your business. It is a great vehicle to drive business for you. It's a great way for you to connect our products to other people, but don't overlook the impact you can have in your community, especially as we talk about hormone health, as we talk about reducing toxins. And I think it's just building those right connections, right? And so I don't know if she'll be somebody that wants to collaborate right now. Maybe it's down the road, but I think there could be a really great opportunity for some levels of collaboration, even if she doesn't want to house them in her store. I was thinking maybe it'd be great for me to host an event in somebody's space where it brings business into her, but also it creates potential client list for me as well. So anyway, guys, I hope that's
Okay, awesome. I think there's a theme today of being bold, right? And I'm the world's biggest introvert. It takes me days to recover, as a lot of you know. Even just 1-2 days in New York, I think it took me 4 days to recover. And it was fun. It's not that it's not fun, but it takes being really intentional at getting out of there. But sometimes this also means being very prepared. So Jace is going to close us out and talk about being prepared, because a lot of it is well, what do you do? And then we get paralyzed with the word. So do you, I'll share the slides, Jace.
Yeah, I'm going to be really, really fast because I know this is going really long, and actually this needs to be fast. So it's really great to tell people to have an elevator pitch and have something to say and respond to. But I wanted to give you a little bit of a structure to create your own and how to create your own pitch. An elevator pitch is just, it's exactly that. It's a business term that came from being in an elevator with someone of significance or importance that you're trying to network with, and having a 1 minute from floor to floor spiel that you could make an impact with that person and an impression with that person. That's where an elevator pitch came from. So what I did was I just took 4 components. There's a ton of different tools that you can use to write this stuff out, but this is just one that did I just get kicked off?
No, you're still here.
Oh, sorry. My whole screen just went crazy. It's fine. Anyway, so basically the gist of it is these are 4 components. So name the product or the company that you're working for. Make sure that gets across. The problem that your company or your product is attempting to solve, the proposed solution, how you're doing it, and then the key benefits of that. So I put this together in a foundational way for you guys just to look at this from a Hugh and Grace perspective. So the product name and category, super simple. You can do this whole pitch within 1 minute, right? And I wanted to give you a foundation so you can take this and then make it your own and target it and cater it to your own audience. But one that I've loved that I use a lot came from Kelly McVeigh, actually. What product, or somebody's what do you do? What company do you work for? You can easily say, I work for a California-based company. It's clean ingredients focused on hormone safe skin health and home. Super simple, right? The problem that we're attempting to solve, and you can even say that the problem or the issue that we're tackling is these endocrine disrupting chemicals that are in all of our mainstream products, right? They're wreaking havoc on our health. And you can even go through and say specific things, because some people don't realize what these chemicals are actually contributing to. So reproductive disorders, obesity, diabetes, neurological problems, immune and thyroid disorders, osteoporosis, Parkinson's disease, chronic stress, hormone-related cancers. That's one that just hit home really deeply for me because someone really close to me just got diagnosed with a hormone-related cancer, which I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know you could have a hormonal-based cancer, and anything to do with the female reproductive kind of cancers, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, a lot of that is endocrine based, just so you guys know. And then really having the solution, like what's our solution to this problem? And it really is those simple swaps. It's really that simplistic. And you can keep it that way, but I like to go into it a little bit deeper and just say, here's where our company invests, because that says a lot about the company. So saying things like, we invest heavily in our formulation, our education, we're fully transparent about the ingredients in every product. We make sure it matches our mission in creating healthier, safer skin, health, and home, right? It's really just dialing in exactly what we do, how we do it, why we do it, and what we're doing about it. So the very last piece is the key benefit solution. So why would someone choose our company over someone else's? And this is where, you know, you can kind of go into your own stories. You can cater this to your own demographic or whoever you're talking to in that moment, whether it's a retailer or your customer or your mom, like it doesn't really matter. This is where you can cater those benefits of what we do to them specifically, or you can keep it more generic. If it's a more generic environment, and you can say, you know, reducing the effects of EDCs is our top priority. People don't realize the products they're using every single day are causing and contributing to serious health issues, right? And that is just going to double down the problem that you already communicated, which is all of these things that these EDCs are disrupting within our health, right? And then I think just having like a strong closing statement or a question or a follow through. You know, one thing I really have liked saying lately is our products are entry level to high level solutions, because they really can fit with your everyday person, or they can go all the way up to medical grade spas that are needing hormone safe solutions, right? So that entry level to high level solution, I think, is so key. So you guys can, you can screenshot this. I also actually just created a little graphic that I can post in the chat, but a couple tips when you're really trying to master your own pitch: keep it simple, keep it short. You want like a 1 to 2 minute pitch, right? If you're doing a retailer, like a 10-minute condensed version, like Amanda was saying, promote follow-up questions. I think you do that through like catchphrases. So I'm going to give you just a couple that have worked really effectively for me, for my target audience. And what I mean by catchphrase is saying something that's going to, like Jamie was saying, like catch your attention and be like, wait, what? Hormones? Like, what is that? Oh, that's relative to me because I'm this age or I'm going through this. It's kind of like that. So when you think about your own issues and what Hugh Grace is solving for you, you can come up with some of these catchphrases in your elevator pitch. So a couple that have worked for me, anytime I mention gut health, because that's been such the rage, right, for the past few years. Anytime I talk about chronic stress control, that phrase gets a lot of conversation going. Unchecked anxiety, disordered sleeping. What are some other ones? Erratic mood swings, lingering weight gain. It's really just identifying some of the everyday issues that you're suffering from and attaching the right adjectives to it that really are relatable for everybody. So just peppering some of that in as you go through these 4 categories and really identifying how you personally want to talk about the company and what you do and how you represent it will help. But this is a really good foundation. And I'm just going to attach, if I am able to, I don't know if it's going to let me, I'm just going to attach the little graphic I made so you guys can print it out and just literally write it right there, but it gives you the example so that you have it. And that's it. Does anyone have any questions?
I think having an elevator pitch and practicing it, like practice it on your spouse, your kids, one another. Ask, say, can I practice this? And just keep saying it over and like text to yourself. Text verb, like voice memo yourself or voice text it to yourself and like just refine it. And again, like it'll shift based off to who your audience is. So kind of like have a few in your wheelhouse, and then it just will naturally, it'll naturally flow.
Just
Thank you for that,
one
Jamie.
note with that too, Jamie, is like I've heard
Yeah.
Sarah's pitch maybe like 100 times now, and it never changes. It's the same, whether she's talking to an advocate, a customer, a retailer, a billionaire, like nonprofit, like whatever it is, like her spiel is the same. And that's because it works. Like that is her mission. And so that's really what's cool about the elevator pitch, and just really understanding, like, if someone asked me what I did and what my job is, what would I say? And it's so much more than just social selling. Like that's not really what we're trying to do. That's, you know, maybe part of our job description. That's not what our job's mission is. And so I think really just sitting down and thinking through this is going to empower you in so many conversations across the board, but especially face to face.
100%. Any questions from anyone? I know we went along, but hopefully this was really helpful. It gave you like all of the ideas. You can go back and rewatch any section of this. Right. Any tips on how to choose to spread your time across all different types of business? I would pick one. You don't have to do all these things. Pick one thing and like master that. Like what sounds the most fun for you? And like what's gonna pay like dividends, right? Like what's going to continue to like work for you. So I would pick one thing, and then get good at that. Get good at that. And then once I think of it like, we remember those magicians when we were little that would spin plates on poles. I don't know that they do that anymore, but I remember I felt like every year we'd see some magician that could spin plates on poles. They would start with one plate and then add a second and then a third and then go back. And it was like, oh my gosh, how many plates can they do? And they'd end up with like 10 spinning plates, but they didn't start out with 10 spinning plates. Is this like a really dated example? Like maybe this is not something they do anymore, but you start with one and then you keep it going and then you go, or if you think of like I can't juggle, but you don't start with 10 balls juggling in the air, you add one at a time. So and like have fun with it and just know that it's gonna like just take messy action. And if you do it with excitement and heart, and then you can use that. Like I love Jace's example of like asking her inner circle, like, hey, I need to do a test run. I need to do a pilot of this. Then it's like it's a low hanging fruit. Then you're going to still, it's like almost a back way to expose the things you wanted to expose the people to anyways, but they're also going to be like a really forgiving audience. And if they know, like they're just in the test mode, they're going to be able to offer you feedback and give you a lot of grace too. Yeah, one main thing a month. I think that's, and then just build out your wheelhouse in each of those areas and then scale up, scale down as you need to. Okay. Good question. Any other questions? All right. Thanks, you guys. I thought this was great. I'll talk to you soon. Happy weekend.